Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you. As always, a little bit of a quiet day today. Earnings on the docket, of course. Intel, Discover, E-Trade, Atlassian, American Express, to name a few. Big story of the day, though, is probably two big stories. The continued spread of the coronavirus, implications now for Disney. We'll talk about that. And Broadcom, AVGO, got a big deal with Apple. So we'll talk about both those stories. Those will be our lead stories of the day. Our guest today is Evan Schnidman. He is the founder and CEO of Prattle. They are a text analytics company. They look through transcripts of earnings calls and Fed statements, central bank statements, and they tell us how bullish or how bearish those statements are. He would join us at 8:35. In the meantime, you can always join our chats on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com and give us a call if you want during the show or after the show, 734-494-0246. Joel, what is the word here overnight?
Oh, the correction is over. The correction was yesterday. The correction is over. Back up. We came roaring back, had extremely strong close yesterday. Immediate follow through on that 6 p.m. open. Pre-market high, 33.37 even. All-time high made on Wednesday, 33.3750. There's your first target on the upside. After that, absolutely no resistance at all. Crude in the red by 18 cents at 55.41. Gold down 7.50 at 15.57.90. Let's call silver flat here at 17.83. And Bitcoin, that's up $80. The futures at 84.50. Dennis, were you able to add to your portfolio on yesterday's full-out correction?
There was a big sell-off in some of the stocks, but no, I wasn't adding yesterday. But I will tell you, there was a good rip and rebound there in Wynn, good rip and rebound in Las Vegas Sands. All the casino stocks, obviously, the cruise lines ripped back from those lows. Props to Mark Chaikin, who's talking about Carnival Cruise Lines buying that on the dip. Well, it ended up closing green, Mark, so it was a good call by you yesterday. The airlines really bounced back. I mean, American Airlines got hit right in the morning along with everything else, which we anticipated might happen, but then they just turned around and started buying them. And they started buying everything to do with the fears of the disease not being, maybe the market wasn't as fearful all of a sudden. So they were buying all those stocks that were getting hit on the illness, and they just kept buying them pretty much all day. So overnight, we get more confirmed cases here, Spencer, and I don't know if you have the numbers, but I think it's up over 800 now. But the market is, again, even over in China shrugging it off now because we're actually green over there. So maybe the market is now not worried. I mean, S&P seemed like they were never worried about it, but we obviously had a few stocks that were getting hit. What are the confirmed cases now?
26 confirmed deaths, over 830 confirmed cases, and there are now travel limits or bans in place that cover a range of 35 million people. So it's getting worse before it gets better.
And they closed, Disney did close their Shanghai park.
Yeah, this one seems obvious in hindsight.
Yeah.
I wish I had thought of it to mention it earlier this week, but Disney did announce they're closing their Shanghai park indefinitely until this virus spread gets under control.
And we've also got news that, and I just grabbed you the headline here from the Pro, the Macau government considers shutting down casinos as concerns about the virus continue to grow. So you have the potential that they might actually shut the casinos down here now too. Again, you're seeing the casinos trade down slightly on this. This is going to probably be a temporary thing. I mean, Wynn has actually rebounded, has now turned green. So, but it was trading down significantly earlier this morning. I think you got buy the dippers lurking in these things now because you had such a rip and rally yesterday. People who were short and thinking, okay, it's really going to get going here. And I mean, you can't look at the short interest and stuff. These are temporary shorts, people shorting from the last couple of days. So you're squeezing those people a bit. And I think on the pullbacks now, I think you're going to find those shorts scrambling to cover. So I think, the temporary low is in a stock like Wynn Resort. It's easy to say it's 133.50, the low yesterday. It's up at 139. So it's significantly off it. But if we get down there and test, that's a big level for it now. Las Vegas Sands, same story. Go to yesterday's low. If we pull back a little bit on fears here, I think there's buyers below. So you know what? On dips here, I'm interested. I wasn't interested yesterday, but that candle changes everything.
Yeah, it took it.
We're like Jeremy Newsom now. We look at a candle and we're like, hey, this candle stuff, and that candle changed everything.
The American Airlines must have found a big seller off the open and knocked it down to 26. And I saw it trading in the mid 27 handle. And I was, and I knew that number was up there at 28. I took my eye off it. Boom, it cleared out those pair of highs at 28 and then closed strong. So big range, big reversal day. Do we want to take a look at some of the, just a real quick, throw a chart up there of the coronavirus index here? Of the stocks we looked at?
The stocks.
Or
yeah. Do you have a chart of it? Throw it up there.
No.
There was no index, but you're referring to like the individual names, sure, like Lake or APT or AEMD. I mean, we got.
Spencer gave us 10 names yesterday.
Yeah.
I think the majority of those now, like Lake trading up here this morning, and you're seeing, the market rebound, China rebound. You got Lake up because it's more confirmed cases. In my opinion, I think Lake is now, and the easy money's been made. I think the path least resistance is down. So if I owned Lake, I'd be selling it.
If you owned Lake, okay.
If I owned Lake right now, I'd be selling it. I mean, and that. And it all depends. I mean, if the virus really blows up and gets way worse, then Lake's going to go a lot higher. So I'm not shorting it. But if you were sitting in here at 11, 12, and you think this is going back up to 15, 16, I don't think it's going there today. Maybe stuff happens over the weekend. Maybe it gets worse. But from the trading action today, I'm actually very surprised that Lake is up 5.5%.
Well, what about a stock that is not stopped going up, like INO?
See, I don't know the individual stories here yet either, and INO is up substantially as well. Is this just a pure play on the current? How do you say the current nota? How do you say the word?
Corona, like the beer.
Coronavirus status.
Well, it's not the Corona. It's not. Is it exactly said Corona like the beer? I thought it was Coronota or something.
I thought it was Corona, but
we can call it. It's easy. Corona.
That's how it's spelled. That's how it's spelled.
I got a great setup for your Lakeland industry traders. Great setup here. You had the high of the move when they got real excited, 1540. But what has to happen here is you got a pair of highs, 1375 and 1397. Boom. You're going to be, if things stay where they are right now, you are opening up into that area. So at the 14 is just going to be a big level the whole day. You clear out 14. I don't think you're going to immediately race to 1540 because you got, you got people stuck from Tuesday trading on that. But you clear 14, you hold it for a while. You open up, you clear 14. That opens up on the inside, on the upside. On the downside, you miss.
This is the resistance.
It's resistance. That's what I'm saying.
You're opening into resistance. It is 3 tops here, so maybe it takes it out. But just using, you can look at technical analysis, but I love to throw the fundamentals in with the mix.
Sure.
And you look at the relationships here, and you see, well, the casinos aren't down very much today, and they almost look like they want to, go up again. With the rebound yesterday, with the markets trading higher, with China not down on more confirmed cases, it's telling me that maybe, that I don't want to be long these stocks that are, a direct play on the virus. So I just 1382. I mean, the stock is still up substantially. It's not at the highs, but that was maybe a blow off top when it got up over $15. But I think I'd be a seller.
Okay, all right. That's what.
That's my opinion. Just an opinion. I don't own the position, but I just look at it and I think I'm actually surprised trading up 5.5%.
All right. Are there any other ones that have interesting charts here? Or do you want to move on? We got some big earnings announcements. What do you want?
The only other one that hasn't given back its gains is Alpha ProTech APT. It's the only one of the 10 that we gave you yesterday that
right near the highs too.
That really is right near the highs. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice setup too. If you got a stop out point even. I mean, these things are so thin, so it could like go up to 560, 570 and then trip you out there too. So it's hard. You got to give them some room. They're going to be wild. I mean, it's got 10-cent spread here in the pre-market, so it is thin, but it's 350 to 550. Things are all up on a virus. If all of a sudden they start to get this thing in control, those things will come crashing down to earth in a hurry. So it's a play. If you're buying it here, you think this disease is going to get out of hand. That's what you're saying by buying all these stocks right now. If you think they're going to get it in check, then all these things are sells. It's a pure play. All these are pure plays on the disease.
Yeah, and I think the travel ban is now on 40 million of their population here, and then aren't they? They have a holiday. Is the Lunar New Year this weekend or whatnot?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So, all right, FXI.
It's going to be an interesting weekend. It's going to be an interesting weekend. I don't want to be long or short anything things in the weekend because we don't know what the headline's going to come. If it blows up and they double the corona, I guess it is called coronavirus. If it doubles over the weekend, maybe all these things rip it again. So it all depends on how many people are going to get this virus over the weekend. How many more confirmed cases? It's going to go up, but if it doesn't go up a lot, then it's probably bad news for these stocks that are play on it. So.
All right, let's hit
These are the virus. This is the virus trade.
Yep. Let's hope that it subsides over the weekend and back to normal. So far, market is shoving it off.
The market, like the S&Ps, have never been worried about this, so you got to consider that too. We have not really sold off. Yes, we sold off a little bit yesterday morning, but they bought it right back again. So over here, they have never been concerned about this. If it starts showing up in the U.S., S&Ps will get more concerned.
All right, let's go to Broadcom here. This is probably the big news of the day outside of earnings is that Broadcom, there's two headlines here. One of them is that they announced two separate deals with Apple that could generate, the bottom line is their supply deals that could generate future revenue for Broadcom of about $15 billion. The other headline is that Qorvo and Skyworks are reportedly in a bidding war for one of Broadcom's chip units. So two good headlines here this morning for AVGO.
Stocks right up at the all-time high.
Yes.
It's been trading here for a while, so it is a significant level. With that being said, there's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of good news on this. So I could see either way. I could see this thing just ripping through it. I think it probably makes a new all-time high to, definitely shake out anybody who's going to lean on it. That's my opinion. The question is, does it hold up or does it come back down through it? 330 is your level. So if you're on the bull train, you're buying up here, you do not want to see this thing open up at 331, go to 332, and then start crashing down through 330, because that would be the signal that they might bring this in a little bit. You want to see it gap and go. That's if you're bullish. So, and I can't tell you which scenario is going to play out, but those are the two scenarios.
And if you're looking at your after hours high, boom, they took it right to 332, had a little bit of a pullback. So 332, 328, you found some buyers under that. Now you're back up again. Someone has an offer. Someone has some stock to sell here at 332. That's $2 above the all-time high. I would use that as a soft target. Above that, just nothing in there. On a pullback, boom, just based on the after hours and pre-market trading, if you're brave enough to try short in this one, there's been buyers at 328. So nice move on 64,000 shares, probably some traded after hours too. But AVGO made trading at a new all-time high.
I've always lost a lot of money shorting stocks at all-time highs.
Exactly.
Next. Netflix?
Well, let's stay with the chips because the chips are hot this morning.
It's Chip Friday.
And for Dennis is going to complain about Intel.
I know. I sold it. I should never sell. Don't sell. That's the moral of the story, right? If you're long term, just don't sell.
Well, here's why.
Every sell's been wrong.
I told you that. You don't
listen. Here's why he shouldn't have sold.
Trader Vic.
He shouldn't have sold because their EPS beat by a lot. A
landslide.
$1.52 versus $1.25 estimate. Sales beat 20.2 versus $19.2 billion. So very nice beats for the Q4 quarter. And as far as their Q1 guidance, it was well above estimates. The Q1 EPS guidance they guided $1.30. The estimate was $1.04. Their sales guidance was $19 billion. The estimate was $17 billion. And for the fiscal year, the guidance was also higher for the EPS and the sales. And on top of all that, they're raising their quarterly dividend from 31.5 cents to 33 cents a share. So nothing bad in that report.
The chase is on. We have 9 analysts this morning raising their price target. Wells Fargo raises their price target to 70. Roth Capital raises their price target to 75. Mizuho raises their price target to 71. UBS raises their price target to 75. Credit Suisse raises their price target to 75. Nomura raises their price target to 74. SunTrust raises their price target, and Bernstein raises their price target as well.
There is one though that is going the other way.
Loop. Look at Loop.
Loop Capital downgrading to sell.
Woo!
So
at least they stand out.
Yeah, they stand out.
They stand out. Wedbush maintains their underperform, but they raise their price target too. So they still say sell it, but they had to raise their price target up because their price target was so out to lunch. Everybody had this one wrong, including myself, because I owned Intel down at 50. It had that, down to like the 45 on the really bad report a year ago. And I was like, man, maybe AMD is eating their lunch. Maybe I just, in the wrong stock. And I took a small loser on it, and that was a mistake because obviously it's now $66. So I had it wrong, and all these analysts had it wrong. Everyone had this one wrong pretty much. There's a lot of ratings on this, and there's not a lot of buys. So now, well, there is some buys, but the price targets were way out to lunch. So anyways, everybody had this one wrong.
68 and a quarter, Triple D. 68 and a quarter was your after.
Such a move. Wow. You're buying it now? Think about it. You're coming in and buying it now, Intel? Maybe they keep going, and we have the momentum traders. It was $60 3 days ago. This is Intel. It's a huge company. And yeah, it was a great earnings report, but I just can't come in and buy it now. If you're buying it now, you're doing it backwards. Maybe I'm wrong. I was wrong when I sold it down low and I was doing it backwards. So maybe it's going to keep going, but I'm not coming and buying it now.
So there's your target on the upside. And then since you made that high, if you're just a shorter term trader here, you're finding support in the lower 66 handle. So I think 66 has to hold here. I don't think we're going to see that 68 and a quarter, just for reasons that, people that got caught up buying it, and then people have been waiting, 10, 15 years to sell it at that level.
What's the all-time high in Intel?
I knew you were.
I don't think we're there.
No, I was just.
I think it's like 85. I'm guessing. What is your guess?
I'm looking right now.
I guess 85.
No, it's not that high. I got let's see here, 75. It's getting there. 75, 83.
Again, this is a lesson in paying huge multiples for stocks in your long-term portfolio. 20 years later, when you were buying Intel at 100 times earnings back in 2001, 20 years later, you have almost got your money back. Man, you can't pay those kind of multiples, not in the long-term portfolio. Now it's reasonable. I mean, it's trading like 11 times earnings or 12 times earnings. It's still reasonable. A little cyclical, though. But wow, that's just incredible. It's been 20 years. Everybody thinks what a fantastic stock this has been. Not if you bought in the year 2000 or 2001. All the chips are up with Intel. I mean, it's a big, indicator for the group. You can look at NVIDIA trading 1.5% higher. I own NVIDIA still in the long-term portfolio. You can look at AMD trading up another 1%. You can go into the other plays like Micron, Applied Materials, LRCX, all trading higher here in the pre-market, up substantially. The chips have just been running and running and running. Western Digital continues to run. Been unbelievable moves in all of the chips. I mean, really, since November, December, these have been the best stocks.
American Express?
Yeah, we can go to AXP. I was looking for other chip news, but I think that was just the Intel and the Broadcom headlines this morning. All right, American Express earnings this morning. Q4 adjusted EPS $2.03. That's a 2-cent beat on the estimate. Sales $11.36 billion is in line with the estimate there. So essentially an inline report, a slight beat on that EPS for AXP.
Big old move.
Well, I wonder what's at 135. JV Spec, you got your book open? I don't have my book open, but JV Specs in the chat. Check the book, because when stocks are moving up here to the highs, we like to look and just see if there's anything in the book. Joel, what were you gonna say?
135.27 is where they took it
I
to.
wonder if there's some size at 135.
Since
Nice,
it's never
big
been
whole
up
number.
there.
Curious.
Street leaning the right way going into this report. Stock had a nice run. You're gapping up. 131.57 was the top of yesterday's range. Don't know if you're going to see that, but see what's at 135. See what's at the pre-market high. Once again, falling into an area of no resistance. Big move for AXP. I don't know. You can chase it up here if you want, but poised to make a new all-time high at the open.
And talking about big levels, I want to give you two more on two major stocks. We
Yep.
haven't talked Netflix yet, so let's go there now and talk Netflix. And this 350 level is going to be big for Netflix. It's down $2 here today. It closed right up into that level. Couldn't get through it, so I got to think there's probably some size or some sellers out there at the big psychological 350 number, because it hasn't been there for a long time. But what a turn! What a move for Netflix. Well, I want to ask why. What is your thesis on why they sold it off on the report? They sold it off $10, $12, $15 on the report. And then they just turned around the next day and said, nope, we were wrong. Buy the hell out of it. Why?
I'm just throwing a dart here, but was Mark Cuban on the day of earnings on CNBC, or was he on yesterday?
I'll tell you why. This is what the media has said. So it was a little bit of a rhetorical question.
Mm-hmm.
The media says it was because Comcast showed subscriber growth decline in the US. And there was an analyst that came out midday and said, this has got to be good news for Netflix. I don't remember who that analyst was.
I don't think that's it.
That's what the media is trying to say it was. And I'm not saying that was what it was either. It sounds kind of ridiculous that was, but maybe that was a little bit to make it move a little bit more. They're saying the weak Comcast numbers were the reason that Netflix was up. I think it's just the fact that this market is funny. It turned around. It's the buy the dip mentality. So maybe you have a little bit of dip buyers coming in, and then it starts going, and then you get this analyst chiming in and saying this has got to be good for Netflix. Now we got a catalyst. Let's go. Let's squeeze whoever shorted this thing yesterday. So, you can have short-term traders that are shorting it, because they think, okay, well, it's a bad report. It's going to continue to leak. All those traders who shorted the day before are caught bad here, because it really did not. It really did not pull back from 325. Look at this intraday trade and show it. From 320, you're showing it right now. From 325 to 345, you had like maybe a little 2-point pullback from 337 to 335 in there. That was straight up rip and rally. Like the professionals, when they're short and stuff, they look for the pullbacks when they're caught. They're looking for a pullback to cover, You really didn't get it. You got a little bit 345 to 340, but then just start ripping again. So there's now people who were shorting the day before that are caught in this. You can't look at short interest for this information. We're looking at the day traders that were shorting it from the day before. I believe that they are caught. Jeremy Newsom looks at stuff like this all the time. I agree with him. He finds it in the charts. I find it just like logically thinking about it. I think there's some people caught short here. I think Netflix can take out 350. I don't think it's giving it back. So I'm going to stay neutral in my stance to Netflix because, but overall, I'm more leaning to the buy side here. I don't think this is going to turn around, sell off 20 points today and give it back. I think this could continue. So it gets up through 350. This thing could be at 360. Look out on Netflix.
I think that, the last theory, the bad day off the earnings, opens lower, goes down to buck. The shorts are like, okay, maybe I'll buy some at 320, 350. That was low on Wednesday. It turns around. And then, they were scrambling. So I agree with that. A lot of people were looking for the follow through on the earnings. And then, you get I don't know how much it takes, to move that stock. But, if someone starts to come in and buy, 20, 25,000 shares, I don't know Dennis, what's the liquidity? Is there like how much?
It's got volume. Like,
okay.
To buy 25,000 shares of Netflix, you got to work it. It's not like, I'm going to throw a 25,000 share order and buy that. The thing's 100 by 100 a lot of times. So you'd have to really work it. But if you have institutional buying, there's algorithms that will, obviously buy pull. And, you see movement like that and you think maybe it's an institutional algorithm that's just buying it because, to be straight up like it was.
It was.
In any regard here, this candle trapped everyone. Everyone who had a bearish thesis is right now worried. So it's pulled back $2 here this morning. In my opinion, I think short-term Netflix goes higher. I think we're going to see 360. I would do a bet with you right now. 340 if you want to take it. I don't know if you do because it sounds like you're on the same side as me, but we're at 347. I will easily say 357 before 337.
Hands off. I don't do bearish bets anymore.
Yeah, I think you're on the same side as me, so you just wanted to bet.
Yeah,
Joel just wanted to bet.
No.
Anyway, I think this thing goes higher. Short-term trade here, I think the thing goes higher. My opinion.
Let me grab my calculator here.
I have no position in it. I don't know if I'll put a position on after the open, but right now I have not, so I can freely talk about it.
Well, so the all-time high is 423.21, right? And then
Well, that's a long ways out of play.
Well, yeah. You know what I'm trying to figure here, champ. And it went
the
down.
Next stopping point really is all those highs at 385. So if you really rip through 355, 360, you start thinking maybe you could go all those highs at 385. Go out to the weeklies or even the monthlies, and you look. That's where we topped out at the end in 2018 or in the fall of 2018, and then multiple times in the summer. 385 was the major resistance point. That's your next major. If you get through 350, 350 is your first level. If you get through there today, your next major resistance point is 385. There's some room to the upside here.
You know what? And being after the fact, Jack here, I'm just looking at that all-time high made in June, right? At 423.21. And then the low on the correction was down at 231. Your 50% retracement of that move came in at 327, right? And look what, I mean, it's a $300 stocks. Your last 2 days lows, within $3-4 of that area. So, man, not banking on holding that 50% going up. I looked on the monthlies and there's nothing on the monthlies until 384.75. I'm sure you could drill down and find some other levels
There's
there.
But room here.
Yeah.
I would be very scared if I'm short this.
I agree.
That's what I'll say. I would be very scared if I was short this. To go down like it did, catch a few more shorts, people will sink in the earnings, and then to rip it right like that on that big of a candle the next day after the earnings. Sounds scary. Scary to be short.
All right. Next 828. Spoos why are they so quiet here? Are all the big spoo traders are they watching and listening to the show and not trading? I mean, what's going on here?
I think so. They're just trying to get a feel. We haven't said our thoughts on this.
Okay.
Higher.
333 even. That puts you up $7 on a session.
Let's go to a couple of earnings reports that are moving here. I want to go to Atlassian, ticker is TEAN.
Nice pronunciation.
I was impressed with that pronunciation as well. I always call it team because I don't even attempt.
I call it Altassian.
We should call it Lassie. Maybe we're just call it Lassie.
I think the bar is.
I like Lassie.
That's Spencer in that journalism major. That's where that comes from.
He's the way Spencer Israel pronounces those drug names.
Okay,
I've always been impressed. That's Spencer Israel. Like me and Joel, we're not that. I don't know about Joel, I guess, but I can imagine myself. I was never very good at English. Did you do good in English, Joel?
Yes, I did.
I even did that wrong. Did you do well in English?
Joel? Yeah, except for that. Yes.
What was your better subject, math or English?
You do English good.
I did well at everything Joel says. He's still mad about the spell.
Oh, I knew you were going to mention that.
3, but
Haley England knocked me out of the number 6 spot. I can't believe it. I didn't make the finals.
And you finished 7th.
That was like one of the biggest upsets of all time in spelling bees. But anyways, go ahead with Artesian Corp here.
Yeah, me English good. The bottom line here is their adjusted EPS beat the estimate by 10 cents, 37 cents, or 27 cents. Sales also beat 408 million versus 388 million. So nice Q2 beats. Q3 guidance was we'll call it in line. The EPS was a smidge light, but the sales was in line. So we'll call it in line guidance and an EPS beat for team up. Up 9%, 8%?
Big move.
Something like that.
Yeah, well, it's not
big move. Hot stock. Is this all-time highs, Joel? I got to go to my monthly.
149.50 was your pre-market high.
Close to it.
Yeah, was your pre-market high. And what do you know? In July of 2019, you topped out at 149.80. So there it was. If you were quick enough to take a look at your monthlies and look at that, get an order out at 149.5, you would have gotten done, no problem. Leaking now, I'd say if you're a gap go buyer here, holding this 140, let's just call it 144. You got to give yourself a little bit of room here. I think it'll be tough for sledding going back up to match that all-time high today. Under 144, look out. You had a big old green bar in the after hours. I don't, the only people that are going to be buying if you don't hold that 144 are people that, got an early short off. So, good looking chart here and team. Keep an eye. If you do get up at 149.5, 149.80, that's your pre-market high and also your all-time high from July of 2019.
And then I also wanted to hit on Discover just because it's moving the other way this morning.
Yeah.
DFS down 7.5%, at least last I checked. Their earnings were after the close yesterday. The EPS beat $2.25, beat by a penny. Sales missed 2.94 versus $2.95 billion. So it's essentially an inline report for Discover. And then this morning they're getting how many downgrades? 1, 2. I see just 2 downgrades. Evercore and Piper are downgrading Discover this morning. Evercore to underperform, Piper to neutral.
How much is AXP just benefiting because they reported second?
You always say that.
Seriously. Discover's down $6, and this morning down $5-6 last night. American Express comes out probably expecting, and obviously these are a little bit different businesses, but there's a lot of overlap, and people do pair them up and compare them. And you see Discover getting hit hard. It's like all of a sudden the expectations overnight drop a little bit lower. And now American Express, which basically, if we look here and we just compare apples and apples, Discover beats by a penny and American Express beats by 2 cents. One goes up $3, the other goes down $6. I mean, maybe there's some other, stuff, devil's in the details, obviously, but I just look at it here and I think, wow, those reports aren't that different. You wonder if it was reversed, if American Express reported first and Discover reported second, if the result would be substantially different. It's crazy, that stuff like that impacts stocks, but I believe it does.
What are you seeing out there for a market? Is it pretty wide? Do you have
which stock? Discover?
Yeah.
No, it's pretty liquid. 79.48 to 79.65. So you're talking 37,000 shares. So it's somewhat light. And obviously, it's only 30, so it can move around a lot, but it's fairly liquid. I mean, I see 22,000 shares offered 79.98. There's, a couple thousand. You could get down on 3,000 shares by within 30 cents here. That's pretty good for a pre-market and Discover.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like it's not done going down yet. I mean, just
Maybe
based
not.
on this 15-minute chart, it just looks like it has some more room to go, even though
I don't see that much really till $75. Not
I
saying it's going down there, but that's your major super duper, as Joel would say, super duper support down from October. But you're halfway there.
Yeah,
I'm not coming in buying the dip on this one.
No, this looks a little
Not for me.
If you want to, if you absolutely want to test out the waters here at 78.57, that was your low on October 24th. So if it holds that, I mean, this is a big move for Discover. You might get a little bit of rebound under that. You do have some daily lows under, 77.83 and 76.56, but you don't have a pair of lows in the same area in the 75 handle. But I don't know, man. They're really beating this up today on the report. Let's see if it's overdone or not.
835. Do we have no guess?
Our guest is dialing in right now, so let's do one more here.
Sure.
Let's do.
We haven't done Skyworks from
okay.
last night.
Let's do Skyworks here.
I mean, there's multiple headlines on this one as well. So you had the earnings, which they actually bought and then dropped it, substantially dropped it. And then they have this headline that they might buy, one of AVGO's businesses. So there's a lot of headlines going out, a lot of balls in the air on this one too. But the dip was substantially bought in this one. This thing got down last night to, I thought I saw 120. Am I correct?
Oh,
Going from memory. I haven't seen the chart.
You saw 118 and a quarter.
Yeah, so $10 off the lows. I mean, this is the kind of stock when it's going straight up like this that they will buy a dip in. And they didn't wait till the next day. They bought that thing overnight. The institutional money managers are out there after hours buying the hell out of this dip. So it's already been bought. Can it get back down and come in a little bit? Maybe. I think you got great support down at 120 though.
And the numbers for Skyworks, the EPS beat, the sales beat, guidance was higher for the EPS.
Let me see if I
sales.
can.
So it was a good report.
You're still. Let's see what happens at unchanged. Right? You've been up, you've been down, you're hanging out. You went off the board at 128.19. That was right near the high for the day, 128.33. So there's your big area. Pre-market high, way up there.
All right, let's bring on our guest now, Evan Schnidman. He is the founder and CEO of Prattle, a text analytics company that goes through statements, corporate statements, central bank statements, and interprets their tone, whether they are bullish, bearish, or neutral. Evan, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Doing okay. How about yourself?
All right.
Well, we are in an interesting time. I guess it's always an interesting time to an extent, but we're at the start of earnings season here, and we're getting the first real, in terms of central banks, we're getting the first real statements for the year from the major banks, and we're getting really the flow, the earnings flow is picking up now, and it'll pick up even more next week. But Evan, broadly speaking here, from what you've seen, what has been the general sentiment from companies reporting earnings this year, and as far as what they've said about the past quarter and what they're saying about 2020?
Yeah. So on the corporate side, we're seeing a couple of things. So obviously, the preponderance of companies are beating earnings, which is always a nice thing. But it's also important to remember that everybody revised down their guidance multiple times last year. So beating doesn't quite mean as much as it used to, right? And so what we're seeing in the sentiment is actually kind of interesting. We're seeing a little bit broader dispersion this quarter than what we saw in the last two quarters. So a little bit more diversity in how positive or negative their sentiment is relative to each other. We're still seeing more companies coming in positive than negative, and the ones that are negative are not. We're not seeing first or fifth percentile. We're seeing 40th percentile, so a little bit below average, but not disastrously bad. So I'd say, net everything is looking mildly positive here.
Do you have like a breakdown as far as like specific sectors or industries, or is one sector coming off particularly bullish and another one particularly bearish?
Yeah, so obviously it's early earnings season right now. So telecom is the most positive right now, but obviously that's off a pretty small sample size. The one that's got the most, that's actually been seen the most reporting is financials. They tend to report first in the quarter. Interestingly enough, small cap and mid cap financials are a little bit more positive than large caps. Large caps are pretty much neutral right now.
And when you say positive, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so the way the methodology works is what we've done is we control for the common quantitative factors that affect price movement. So things like did they beat or miss, what's guidance, ROI, ROA, ROIC, et cetera, right? Control for those factors and isolate in on the residual price movement unexplained by those. The 20% or so of price movement that explains why people dial into earnings calls and read transcripts and read research reports. That's what we're focused on. So we're not trying to predict total price movement. We're just trying to say what's being said that's not picked up in the numbers. And so that's what this reflects is what's being said that's not picked up in the numbers. And so that neutrality from large cap financials in aggregate is really reflective of the sentiment absent the financial components.
We're on with Evan Schnidman. He's the founder and CEO of Prattle. Any specific companies you want to highlight for us as with statements that caught you off guard or that you found particularly insightful for one reason or another?
No, I mean, I think that this is it's a particularly interesting time of year to be to be looking at some of the we'll go to the large cap financials. I think that the JPM obviously had a pretty substantial beat, and I think that that's actually a really interesting one because obviously they're a huge bank, but perhaps the more interesting piece about it was basically all of their core comments. So we extract the most salient remarks in a given earnings call. Basically, all of their core comments from the earnings call this quarter were actually about revenue. And so they weren't talking about forward prospects very much. They were talking about trailing quarter revenue. And so it'll be really interesting to see how much that plays out as we look to the rest of 2020. Typically, we see core comments that are a little bit more prospective and less retrospective. JPM's comments were heavily retrospective.
How does the generally positive sense compare to prior quarters?
Right now, it's pretty much in line with what we've seen the last couple of years. Maybe slightly more positive, but it's very hard to tell this early in earnings season. Ask me again in 2 weeks, and I'd have a much better statistical sample.
Probably a good idea, yeah. So you only, I think, like 5-10% of companies have reported so far, so not limited sample size for sure. I want to also ask you, Evan, about central banks. You also your software reads through their statements and parses what they said or didn't say for sentiment. And what is the general sense? We just had Christine Lagarde from the ECB speak earlier this week. What is the general sense out of that?
Yeah, so I guess let me separate out central banks from everything going on in Davos. Obviously, the two are linked, but not necessarily side by side here. So so setting aside some of the things that world leaders are saying, absent central bankers, looking only at the central banks. What's interesting is obviously, like most of the rest of the world, central bankers are pretty quiet over the holidays and really only picked up steam here in the last 10 days. And so far, when we look at, we'll start with the Fed here. In January, we're seeing more diversity in their language than we've seen basically since any point since September. So we see a broader spread from the most hawkish to the most dovish communications. We'll see if that keeps up throughout the rest of the quarter. It'll be interesting. My suspicion is it won't. But in aggregate, trend has fallen a little bit from where it was at year end. We'll see if that persists as well. When we look to the ECB, ECB is in aggregate neutral at the moment, although trending upward a little bit, trending to be a little bit more hawkish, which is probably net positive for the Eurozone.
We're on the line with Evan Schnidman. He's the CEO of Prattle, and you recently joined hands with Liquidnet. So tell us how that's been going, how the integration is working, and how the customers of Liquidnet are using your data.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we were very fortunate. Prattle was acquired by Liquidnet last year, and we're now part of a new investment analytics initiative within Liquidnet. So in addition to the core trading applications, one of the things that's been part of the Liquidnet journey for the last few years has been adding increased analytic capabilities. So it started with the acquisition of OTOS a couple of years ago, and then Research Exchange and Prattle most recently. And so putting together pre-trade analytics, research, and natural language processing capabilities. Really, the idea is to get the trader, the PM, the analyst, all on the same page and looking at the same information all in one stack. And so we're working on this new investment analytics initiative, and we're excited about putting this all in one place and giving people the ability to actually get the information they need and not a bunch of junk they're not going to look at, and getting it all delivered to them in a concise format, an alert-based format. They can be notified about the ticker that they care about and be able to drill down into not only the analytics, not only alternative data and market data, but also research itself. And so all of that's being unified together. And so that's where a lot of my time and energy is going these days, is taking a lot of the tools we've built with Prattle, analyzing both corporate communications and central banks, and applying that to the broader research space, broader technology space, and seeing ways we can deliver that directly to the PM, the analyst, and the trader.
So from an operations standpoint, are you, do you have several people listening? I mean, there could be what, two, three, four, five, earnings calls going on at one time. Do you have, do you just wait? Are you have a big enough team to listen to all those calls? And then continuing with that question, are you providing instant analysis and people are like hitting a button and doing trades based on this? Or is it more you aggregate the data on Thursday and then you get it out to your people on Friday and then they make their trading decisions on Friday?
I'd say it's somewhere in between. So essentially, we're aggregating the data. We do right now. We're still reliant on transcripts of earnings calls. So right now, we're not doing real-time analysis. However, stay tuned. That's in process.
Okay.
And so, but we've got the capabilities to do that. It's really just being able to do it at scale. As you said, when you're looking at we cover every publicly traded company in the U.S. Within the next few months, we're expanding to cover all of Europe as well. And so our plan is to go global within the next year, and that'll include increasing our speed to market as well. So we can have analytics provided to folks during the earnings call. And that's really one of the big parts of this initiative is being able to deliver those analytics, that content, that information in real or near real time.
Okay, Jason Raznick's in the pre-market chat today, and he wants a big hello to you. Says hi and big fan of your product. What else? There was one other thing that I want. Oh, do you put on any emphasis on who is speaking? Like, maybe, all of a sudden, not necessarily changes in the company, but, maybe one person did do so well on an earnings call. Do you put any emphasis on the who and the delivery, or is it strictly the words and the text analytics?
Yeah, so we put a lot of stock in who's speaking.
Really?
So
Okay.
yeah. So we residualize on a per speaker basis. So what that means is we actually track how each person compares to themselves over time. So so we're actually when you get a report from us, you're not only getting a singular score, we're also identifying who spoke, what percentage of the time, and the sentiment of every speaker. So on an earnings call, that means both corporate officers and analysts. And we actually break it down even further, identifying the prepared remarks as separate from the Q&A, because of course they're just structurally quite different. And so really our objective is to give people the information that they would glean if they were a human being capable of being comprehensive and unbiased and were dialed into this earnings call themselves, right? And so we do all that, and we extract the most salient remarks, the couple of sentences that are most likely to move stock price, most likely to show up in an analyst report or a news article. We're extracting those as well. And so really we care a lot about making sure that not every speaker matters the same amount. Not every speaker
that's interesting.
means the same thing. So yeah.
And you can find or learn more about Evan's product by going to Prattle.co. Are most of your clients, users, customers, are they retail, institutional?
Vast majority are institutional. We certainly started with the hedge fund market and have expanded a bit to the large long only folks as well. As we work our way through the vast liquid net network, obviously that's expanded quite a bit, and so we're definitely excited to see how different types of users are now using the data. We've even got some of the corporates, the IROs are interested in what we're saying about them and their competitors, and that's become a whole other growth area for us as well.
All right, Evan Schnidman, as mentioned, founder and CEO of Prattle. Prattle.co is your site. Evan, thanks for the time today, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right, 8:50 now on the clock, and we covered most of the earnings reports I wanted to cover. Here's one, not earnings related, but a potentially interesting trade this morning. A stock I don't think we've ever discussed on this show.
Ever.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Whoa, really? I thought we had discussed every single stock.
Not this one. Cincinnati
Okay. Give me a
Bell.
new one. Give me a new one in my universe. I'm licking my chops.
Well, you've heard of it. Cincinnati Bell, CBB.
I've traded it.
Yeah,
CBB.
I
even know
didn't
the symbol.
say I didn't say you never traded. I said you never talked about it on the show.
It's been a long time since we talked Cincinnati Bell. What's going on with Cincinnati Bell? $4 to $13 in a matter of 4 months. Why have we not been talking about CBB?
They received an unsolicited acquisition proposal at $12 a share in cash.
And that's why it's trading at 13.
That is why it is trading up 13.
So it's a proposal. So they're saying, we think we're going to get more. Obviously, that you can see from the gap up before, this has been in play. I'm not following the story at all, but just even looking at the chart, you can tell this looks like a stock that's in play. And so they got a $12 bet on the table. It's trading at 13 because they're banking they're going to get more.
What's the symbol on this one?
CBB.
Charlie, Bobby.
There's still a bell around, huh? That's kind of interesting.
Cincinnati Bell.
Telephone service in Cincinnati, I understand. Trading at $13. Well, longer term perspective, that's like half of its all-time high. As usual with these kind of things,
It's all
you
just
want
about
to
the
hear
bits.
some follow through. You want to hear someone saying, "Hey, I'll pay $13.50, I'll pay $14, etc." If not, then more likely these moves, can fade on you. Could easily be back at if it really falls through, then you'd be back at the $8 area. If you feel like getting in where it's got started,
This
then
is
that's
not trading
closer
like
to
it's
10.
going to fall through, though. So
Sure doesn't. It
yeah,
sure looks like someone's
especially when
coming
you're
in.
trading a buck over the bid. It's sounding like, you remember AXE? How many times they raised the price on that thing? So AXE was going to get taken out at 85, then it was 87, then it was 90, then it was 92, then it was 95. Then it's now, I think finally they figured it out. I don't know if it's $100 or what it is. The stock's at 99.12, but kind of feels, and obviously I haven't been following the story here at all, but I mean, these things can happen where, you have different bids, you get in a little bidding wars, or, they just keep raising the prices. You have, when you have a period where the company can go out and seek other offers, which they did in AXE, and then they get one, the other company has to pay out more. I mean, we saw the AXE bid raise 5-6 times. That's the most that I've seen in a stock in a long time. I don't know if that's going to happen in CBB, but I'll tell you, the investors that are paying 13 right now with the 12 on the table are hoping that's what's going to happen.
I just
Next.
I had one I wanted to bring up and I completely forgot what it was. Oh, Boeing. That's what it was. Boeing.
Well, this was a reversal day for it yesterday.
Yeah.
So we haven't talked Boeing. This was a huge candle for Boeing. I'm not surprised it's getting follow through here this morning. BA trading up in the pre-market, another $4. Give us the headline that drove it first yesterday, and then we can give our technical thoughts.
Well, there's always headlines, but the one you're referring to is probably the CEO saying that the dividend is safe.
Yes, that's exactly the headline that I'm referring to. And what time was that specifically? So you can see it on the chart.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
It started climbing all day, so. I'm throwing you under the bus because there's like 50 headlines from Boeing yesterday.
Yeah, no, I don't know what time.
Anyways, they're saying the dividend's safe. There was worries about the dividend, but now the CEO comes out and says it's safe. They might have to raise some cash. Again, what I've said before is the MAX, I still believe, will fly again. In my opinion, I believe the plane's going to fly again. It's a temporary problem, much like, this virus. I believe the virus is going to get in control too. So sometimes you get opportunities to buy good companies when they're having issues. I think Boeing is one of those cases. I think people are going to be happy if they're buying Boeing in the low 300s. But you never know. I mean, if the MAX keeps getting pushed out and doesn't fly again, then it's got serious cash burn problems right now. So, but the market's always going to be ahead of that. So it's not like you can wait until the point where, okay, now they're saying it's official, the plane's coming back. The stock will already have rebounded by then. So this is just speculation. This isn't going to last forever. And there's people saying, hell, the stock is cheap if you consider this MAX getting back into the air. 2.5% dividend is still safe too. I think there's major support down at 300. There was major support at 320, which it obviously took out. Joel anticipated that well on the show, saying it was going to take it out that day, and it did. Now you got the major support down at 300, but that bounce yesterday will spook shorts a little bit.
Yeah, that was a undercut and rally there yesterday because you took out
Gil Morales style.
Yep.
Gil loves that. And, of everybody we get on the show, I mean, Gil is excellent. When you bring Gil on, I think everybody's listening in. And the one good thing I will say, because Gil's textbook, obviously we know, his history, he's been on the show multiple times. But the one thing that he does very, very well is he adjusts his technical analysis strategies for the environment. And in 2018, remember, he was saying breakouts are not working. It's, it breaks out and then it comes back. Those are actually selling opportunities. It's different right now. And I'd be curious to bring Gil back on the show to see, because breakouts have been working in 2020. They have been working for the last month. They've been working very well, but they were not working in 2018 and 2019. For about a year and a half to 2 years, breakouts were tougher to trade. It was the fade trade that was working, but we're kind of moving back, and it's full on momentum driven by the dip market. And you're seeing breakouts start to work on stocks there too. This undercut and rally, though, is a classic Gil Morales trade where you see, okay, everybody get them from the day before, then we'll rip their face off a little bit. I mean, Netflix is kind of the same story as well. Undercut, the day's low, and then turn around and rip it in their face. And now you caught everybody short from the day before. So that's why I think, like I was saying, I think Netflix continues higher from here too. Boeing's already up another $4. Can I chase it now? Probably not, but I don't know if you're going to get a substantial pullback of like $10 or $12 to jump in here either. Again, headline-driven stock though, so headlines could change everything on this.
Man, this is a big day for it. A big day for it, with old support, new resistance, right? And you poked your head above it today. Traded in the 320 to 322 range. So let's see. Let's see if all the people that a lot of stock was bought in this area, 320, 322, 323. I think today, if it could hold above there, then it's a really good thing. If not, if this was to pull back, you're gonna find buyers. People are gonna feel like they missed the low of the move yesterday at 302.57. But be very interesting if it closes above 320 today for Boeing BA.
Dennis, a quick look at imbalances. What do they say this week?
Yeah, we haven't looked for a while. Yeah. They are mixed. General Electric, 161,000 to buy GE with a big move there yesterday. Was it an upgrade? Upgrade yesterday?
Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, that was a big upgrade.
Yeah, upgrade moved it yesterday there. Boeing doesn't hurt either. You have a little bit of a Boeing trade on this. It's a small portion, but they obviously do have some parts that go into the max. So there's a little bit of that there as well. I think, was our buddy Tusa, was he saying something? I just saw on my Twitter stream a little while ago. I don't know if he chimed in here or not, but I heard there was some commentary from him this morning.
Okay.
Anyways, I saw go by the Twitter stream. I don't think he came out with anything, but I think he was commenting.
All right. Do you want to do, let's do one more earnings report here, and let me pull up the stock in the messy brokerage space. You have E-Trade. We have it trading in the red here. Let me pull up the report for you.
This is interesting. Give us the report. I got some comments here. Sure. E-Trade.
You got a comment, Dennis? Okay. They beat by 2 cents. Estimated revenue coming in at 82 cents. They came in at 84 cents. They also, that was for EPS. On revenues, they also, eked out about a small beat, 668.
I've got a miss on ETFC.
And
I don't know where you're reading, but I
got 82.
76 I have unadjusted.
Oh, really?
That's why we have Spencer read the numbers.
I'm back. Sorry. I stepped away to grab.
Do you have a miss or a beat? Because I have a miss. So Joel's saying it was a beat.
I have an EPS miss and a sales beat.
Sales beat.
Well,
I don't know where you're looking, but the pro, which I trust my trusty Benzinga Pro, says 76 versus 82. So that sounds like a miss to me.
Well, do you want to bet a steak dinner that it doesn't say that?
All right. You know what?
You're challenging my vision.
You're probably looking in different places.
So, I'm looking at ETFC at 406, 76 versus 82.
All right. There is a.
Well, I don't know what you're looking at.
Look at the calendar.
Okay, there's a slight discrepancy. Okay, I'm going to explain this right now. The news feed and the calendar say two different things. So
I don't look at the calendar. I look at the news feed.
Okay, well, the calendar says 84 cents versus 82 cents. The news feed says 76 cents versus 82 cents. So one of those is not right, and the news desk is working on this right now. That's what I'll say.
All right. So anyway,
Brent says,
we're both right.
Listen, no, you're not. Brent, head of our news desk, says defer to the calendar. So in this case, Joel is correct. Joel, congratulations.
Why is the stock down $1 then?
Don't ask questions you don't know I don't know the answer.
I know the answer because I missed.
Okay. Fine.
All right,
I already got my steak dinner out of it.
Wait,
I want to bring on.
ETF FC, is that E-Trade?
Yeah, that's E-Trade.
Okay, they're down $1 just by reading the synopsis that I read last night is because they're spending a lot more money on trying to take advantage of the Schwab Ameritrade deal. So they're going to a lot more money in R&D, and some investors don't like that. Is my assumption, but I don't know.
This is Jason Raznick, everyone, our CEO. Jason, do you want to sit? And
Yeah, sit down, Jason. We haven't talked to you for a while. We gotta get Jason. We've been trying to get you on the show. You're hard to book. We've been trying to get Jason Raznick on the show here for like a month and a half. We gotta get.
I've been in Jamaica and Hawaii after Tesla's done what it's done. I've been on.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta get you on to get your thoughts on Tesla. First of all, are you still riding this gravy train? This has been a gravy train for you.
I bought it at $38.76. I have not sold one share.
Look at this. But Warren Buffett. We're sitting here with Warren Buffett. That's impressive, though. I mean, I could learn something from you because I suck at holding. Unbelievable. The Tesla move.
I sold
574.
I haven't sold one share. Let me fix it. I sold some shares at 168, and then
you did sell some shares.
And then no. I rebought them back. I'm like, what was I doing? Because I was trying to buy another stock big. So then I rebought them back at 220, all of it, and call options. I've been on the show numerous times. There's recordings. I've been going crazy on the show about how everyone should be in Tesla. And to the point where that I was taken aside by our lovable teddy bear, Spencer Israel. He took me aside after the show about a year or two ago and said, Jason, you shouldn't say things on this show that you don't believe just to get reaction. I'm like, because I was like talking about Jim Cramer, how he's, more animated. And I said on the show a year and a half or 2 years ago, I said this, and it's recorded. I said there'll be a Model 3 Tesla in every single parking lot that has over 500 cars. There'll be a Model 3 Tesla in every single parking lot. Spencer took me aside and said, Jay, I just don't think you should say stuff you don't believe. I'm like, don't believe?
I'm never going to live this down.
Yeah, I know.
And I go, don't believe? Are you kidding me? No. It makes no sense to me why someone would not buy a Tesla right now. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes 0 sense. And then the valuation and all this stuff, you got like the things that people don't realize is this is so disruptive to the old way of doing things. If you look at a Nokia phone, you look at a LG or Samsung, then a company called Apple comes around and introduces an iPhone, and you're like, wait, so these it's a whole new way of doing things. Think about this. You want a car, I go on the website, I order how I want the car, and it comes to me. Now, if you have a GM or a Ford, they have legacy dealerships everywhere that compete with each other, per city. It's crazy. They're never going to be able to cut into the way that Tesla has, done this in a customized way. It's the dream that Cars Direct, 25 years ago, Bill Gross from IDLab tried to create. No one has been able to do this except for Tesla. And that's not it. There's more. There's a lot more. So in 2 months, there's a investor day, a battery investor day, which I think I will be at this year. And what they're going to talk about is their new technology for batteries that are just going to be so crazy, and it's going to get rid of that range anxiety. Tesla, my guy who's the smartest guy I know on Tesla, who gives me my color on Tesla, the smartest guy I know, every single other day when Tesla was at $200, he margined his whole account and put everything in Tesla. I didn't go that hard.
It's like diversification out the window. I'm getting rich.
Oh, I'm not recommending. I'm not looking for people to buy the stock. I'm just telling you my opinion. So when Spencer took me aside to reprimand me about saying my opinion, I'm just saying my opinion. I'm not telling you to buy the stock. I mean, listen, the stock market, what is it? What's that fortune telling thing that Warren Buffett has? Like in the short term, it's a weighing machine. I don't know, something like that. I can't predict the movement. Yes, it has risen a lot in a short amount of time. It's actually annoying. But one of the reasons it rose,
it's actually annoying.
It is because
he's long. It's annoying that I'm making too much money.
No, because
I hate that. I hate that when stocks go down.
I hate that when my stock goes up too much.
No, but I was buying more, and here's the problem. So China, I was watching. There's drones that were videoing the whole thing about the China development. I knew that the thing was way ahead of schedule. Everyone, like a lot of the insiders, like people that follow it closely, that's what drove the stock from like 270 after the earnings to like 360. And I'm like, I already knew that. So another thing, this battery investor day that no one's talking about. It's not in the market. It's not in the stock. That's going to remove range anxiety. I don't want to say more because I don't want to speculate on something I don't know about, but I just think it's going to remove some of that range anxiety. And the one more thing on the whole Tesla story, the Model 3 doesn't make a lot of sense for a lot of people. They're bigger, they need more room, they have kids. I get it. It's not a car for everyone. It reminds me of like the old Neons a little bit. The Model Y is that car. Like that's the car. If I was to get a car today, I would get the Model Y. It's not out there right now. but I'd get the Model Y.
What about the other electric companies? I mean, electrical
Volks-
vehicle
Volkswagen
companies?
has their own. The Ford's working on it.
Well, yeah, competition in electric
Yeah.
vehicles. Do you think that's an issue here, Jason?
Absolutely. 1 decade. 1 decade. Tesla is a decade ahead of everyone else. So the BMW just stopped doing their thing. Remember the Bolt? Remember GM's Savior? They introduced a Bolt. Total and utter failure. Every single company, Volkswagen just suspended their thing another year and a half, 2 years. This is what the crazy thing is, and what people don't realize. And when it was at $210, went down, and I don't know if you guys remember, it was like, I think you have to raise debt. Is Tesla going under? All these things on CNBC, everything were just like Tesla's going under. They have no money left. Okay. The thing that people don't realize is Tesla is a decade ahead. You guys, one thing no one talks about, they created their own chip for automated driving. The guy from ARK Investment, they hired the guy that was the analyst at NVIDIA. He worked at NVIDIA. The chip on Tesla is so far way ahead of anyone else. There's no one that is even close in terms. Yes, there'll be other electric cars. There will be, but they're not going to come out in 2, 3, 4 years. It's going to be keep delaying. The I-20, this thing's got delayed. Ford, is coming out with the Mustang in electric. I mean, where are these cars on the road? Where are they? And something that Elon Musk subscribes by, guys, if it's not 10 to 100x better, you're not going to switch to it. So everything he does is to impact the user in a big way. So honestly, horns are really annoying, I think. So now in 1 month, our horns, we're going to be able to change the colors of the horn, change the noises of the horns. You're going to be able to do other things and put little messages outside it. He makes the car
Messages, move, please.
That's the last thing I think I need.
Move, please.
What about
move,
this?
Please.
What about this NIO stock? A lot of we don't talk about it a ton on the show. It's had a big move.
It's the Chinese Tesla, Jason.
That's what they say. Is it true though?
That's what they said. I don't know.
Do you follow that company, Jason? Neo?
No, but I'll find out for you guys because I have two of the smartest electric people in the
Ask
world.
them about Neo.
I will.
All right, yeah, ask them about Neo.
And like some of the people you see on CNBC that talk about Tesla, they're coming to me for information, and then they go on and say it on the show. I swear, I get it all the time. So the go for the thing in the chat room. I want to give you. I want to answer your question. It's not autonomous Ubers. I mean, Tesla believes that they're going to be the market for that, and you're not going to even be in the Uber thing. Tesla thinks it's going to be, you're going to take your Tesla from wherever, and it's going to be autonomous. But the truth is, guys, anyone wants to go on it? I drove here this morning. I drove on the expressway. I didn't touch the wheel. I mean, I didn't look. I didn't have to look. I mean, you've touched the wheel every 2 minutes to shake it to make sure that you're not sleeping. But I was tired. I wanted to shut my eyes for a little bit, so the wheel thing. and it sounds.
Car drives itself.
It sounds so crazy, but when sometimes the Tesla thing doesn't let you do the auto thing because of whatever, and it's annoying because I feel less safe. I feel way safer when the auto drive is on. Because if the car slams its brakes in front of me, it happened yesterday. It was the first time that I really thought I almost rear-ended a car. Car slammed its brakes in front of me. The Tesla thing beeped. Thank God, Tesla, because I didn't have the auto drive on, and I almost rear-ended the car in front of me yesterday. And if I didn't hear that beep,
so it will let you know if the car is slamming on the brakes, even if it's not an auto drive.
It saved me from rear-ending the car yesterday. Yes, it gives these 6 beeps. You can make your settings sensitive, middle, or whatever. I make it sensitive because I don't want to rear-end a car. Before the Tesla, I had a Chrysler 300C. I don't know if you guys know what a 300C is, and I think that's what it was. And it didn't do that, and I rear-ended a few cars, I would say, in my time.
Jason needs autonomous driving.
All right, I got someone on my side. What about a Target? Is this just something you're going to pass on to your kids, Josh and Riley, or do you have a target? I mean,
for the stock.
So
yeah.
The Spencer Israel, this is, I'm going to call him Negative Spencer. He's the guy that, said the Model 3s and everything. So he came to me yesterday. He said, Jason, I just think when they report earnings, they're not going to be as great as everyone thinks, and people are going to sell the crap out of it. Okay. So what I'm doing there is I'm going to use options to hedge my position. I'm going to hedge a little bit. So I'm going to hedge to protect the upside. The target on it, I never put price targets on stuff. Like when I went into HubSpot pretty hardcore, I went into HubSpot because I see a trend of companies not wanting to use Salesforce. And what was the alternatives? And HubSpot was the only one. And did it rise from 60 to 200 quickly? Yeah. So price targets are hard, but what I would say to you is take Uber's valuation. Look at Uber, look at these other car companies, and then take that model and say there's 15 million cars sold, new cars a year, and there's all these used cars, and figure, taxis, this whole thing, and Tesla is the leader in autonomous driving. I see this company being at $500 billion within the next, I don't know, 3 to 6 years.
That's almost $3,000 a share.
Yes, I know, and
That'd be incredible.
And I know it's a low price target. I get that. I know it's low. I know it's lower than Catherine's from ARK Investment. She's at 6,000, but with the model that I went over her model. I will go over my model sometimes. That's where it's at. But I don't want it to keep going up right now. I want it to go down because I want to take advantage of the things and buy more. I was really bad at buying options on it. My January's expired, and I bought them, and I spent a lot, and they expired. I didn't do it right. So I want to.
Didn't go out far enough.
And one thing I just wanted to mention, what Raz said, and it just kind of reminds me of what Jerry Parker said yesterday. Don't be afraid to get back in. So he sold some stock for whatever reasons, think it was breaking down, and he wanted to get back in, and he had to pay up for it. And I think that's one of the hardest decisions,
really hard.
Investing and trading. It's like, oh, I missed it. I'm going to wait for it to come back to 180. Essentially, he took a loss, looked at, where it reestablished position. So
Joel,
that was something Jerry Parker talked about yesterday.
Joel, with Jerry Parker, what you're talking about, it was even worse. I didn't realize at the end of the year, because for taxes, the guy's like, I owe this. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I owe, he's like, you sold your Tesla, like the 38 to 1, and I only sold it like a month time frame, and it really effed me up there. But
you realized again.
Yes, and I didn't realize that what I was doing, so that was stupid. But
hold forever, and you have to pay those tax bills.
I think it was Spencer, exactly. I think it was Spencer Israel that came in my account and did it. But I know I got it. There's a guy in the chat room, guys, on the PreMarket Prep chat room, premarket.benzinga.com. The spinner, I think it was, yeah. So I have some buddies that are selling the $1,000 strike price that expire next week, I guess, or this week or something, for like 50 cents. Tesla's not hitting $1,000 this week or next week. There are option plays when the market is euphoric on a stock like it is on Tesla right now. I mean, it's too euphoric. It is right now. The euphoria, it's just night and day. If you guys went on Twitter or went on Facebook, there's a guy, Roberto Padone, and a bunch of other people that just ripped on me and said like, he's a fraud. I don't even want to say another guy who you can go look at his Twitter, all this stuff. And when it's so euphoric like this now, they've all switched. They've all liked Tesla now. It's crazy. I'm like, I can't even believe it because I have text message with these people like who said, whatever. But when it's so euphoric, there's opportunities in the options market to sell to people who are just willing to pay, $1 for $1,000 thing. And you can hedge yourself too and buy the calls because if it really does do that, there's ways to hedge. So I try to look at opportunities like that with Netflix, Tesla, and other stocks like that, where right before the expiration, sell stuff for 50 cents, whatever. I mean, I don't know if you ever do that, Dennis, but it's something that I've recently been looking at.
What about the charging? How often do you have to charge it? Do you ever, run into problems? What, have you taken it for long? What's the longest distance you've driven, and what's the charging situation like?
Drove 4 hours up north. I had to stop in Petoskey and charge for 25 minutes at the supercharger at Myers there. So
what's that cost?
What's it cost?
Yeah, like that. Somebody was asking the cost on the show the other day.
I got you. Shut your eyes. What do you see? Nothing for Model S. Nothing for Model X. Model 3, I think there may be some sort of charge. And then I charge at home.
So they don't charge you anything? So you can just go there and charge for free because you own the car?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. I don't own the car. I leased the car. It was actually
okay.
I didn't buy the car, guys. I would have waited another like 6 months. I got it.
So this is just part of the leasing agreement that you get free charges?
No, you bought the car, same thing, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, but two things. You mostly charge your car at your house or your office. So there's a charger in our office here. Basically in every office building there's a Tesla charger, okay? Or there's a charge point. You can charge anywhere. The Tesla superchargers do it in 25 minutes versus a regular charger can take like 4 hours. But this is what the deal is, okay? So you get 300 miles basically. In the winter, you get 40% less. So my 300 miles I get now, I really only get like 200 miles, 220 miles. Okay. So that's not so great. What happens is if I forget to do it at home and I fall, that I do it in the morning when I get to the office. The charging, yes, there is a fee for it, but figure a gallon of gas costs what? I don't know. What does it cost these days? $2?
$2.30.
$2.
That's Canadian.
Electric charging. I don't know if that's a joke, Joel, but is that Canadian? I don't know.
It was.
So electric, it's like 10 cents, So I charge it at home. You use the same volt, like the 220 volt, and or whatever I'm saying, and it charges it in 4 or 5 hours. So no, Joel. The answer is if you like my parents and brother and family thought it was a terrible idea for me to get a Tesla. Terrible, because I'm sometimes irresponsible and lose things a lot. And
They didn't think you were gonna lose the car.
they thought that I would die. The car would die many times. I wouldn't charge it.
Okay.
Because you forgot to charge it. All right, one more question. I know I said one more before. How long have you had it?
I got it as a birthday gift on March 7th, 2018.
Nice birthday gift.
Okay. So 2 years.
Dennis.
Here's my question. How many times have you had to have maintenance on it? And where do you go? If something's broken, if something happens to it, how many times have you had it, taken it to no, there's no dealership. What happens?
Can you guys hear me better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
The mic need to be closer, I think. Okay. 2 things on that, Joel. I forgot what the other thing I was going to say, but I can't say it. But okay. So service. I did have a problem, and I could play the audio from it, where the car was squeaking like an old mattress going up and down, like the worst squeaking noise you could ever imagine. The suspension on my car, and if you Googled what it was, a lot of people had the same problem. It was the worst noise you could ever imagine. It was an old creaky bed, like a kid jumping up and down on it. That's what it sounded like, nonstop. I recorded that audio. I called Tesla, let them play the audio. They came and met me in my office. They gave me a replacement Tesla. It was actually a faster version, which I love. So I didn't give it back for like 3 weeks. I kept making excuses.
So you got to get a new one. You got to get a new car.
No, they took my car.
Right.
They replaced the suspension.
Oh, they just replaced the part.
Yeah, the part.
Okay.
Yeah, they replaced it. Then, I mean, Joel, you're right. The biggest issue, if we're giving like the bullish and bearish and being totally honest, the biggest issue is service. The other issue I had was like something else. They came to my house. They have these runners in every city. They come to your house a lot, and that's how they solve it. But that's hard to do with the Model 3s because there's so many. So they have a thing in Toledo. You have to bring your car there. It's not the most convenient thing. Service is the Tesla's biggest issue. There's many Tesla owners who got in early. They're like, oh, this car, the interior isn't that. But there's so many other things that are so great that you would never go back. I mean, Joel, I would love for you to take the Tesla all next week and then tell me how you feel after that. I don't think you'd give it back. I think you would quit Benzinga and we never see you again because you just
run away, drive away with your
drive away with
Can you? All right. So you have to. Okay. So they make you touch the wheel. All right. That's it. That's all the questions I have for Raz. Is anybody in the chat or Dennis?
I feel like we kept him long enough.
There was one thing I was saying before, but I forgot that was interesting. And by the way, guys, like if I knew for sure Tesla was going to go to $500, I would have mortgaged it all, right? I don't know this. All I know is it's a thing that solves problems, and it's a better way to buy a car, and it's cheaper. Like the reason I said I don't know why anyone doesn't get a Model 3 is because if you do a lease on a Model 3 right now, it's I think $340 a month or something around there.
Really?
But let me finish on that. The 340, maybe it's for 380, but let me finish on that. You guys, you never, ever get gas. So now take $100 off, or take $150, or take $200 off. So now you're at $240. But let me finish. Is your time important to you? Do you want to go to a gas station and spend 10 minutes, or do you want to go use that time to call Brent and say, what up? Like, come on. Like, time is important. And I'm like, one more point I'm going to make. There's a person who parks next to me. She bought a Tesla, a used one, a 2015 Tesla. She drives 70 miles to work each day. That's what she does. And she was getting gas. She spent like $500 a month on gas. She's in love. She has her Tesla. She has a charger at home, charger here, and she never has to get gas. She's saving so much money. So what she was paying for her whatever car she had, she's saving money by getting a Tesla. And then you guys are not even talking about the semi trucks. You guys, in 3 years,
Okay.
there's going to be I'm just going to finish. There's going to be
Okay.
three. He's going to say things I don't believe again.
No,
So-
it's not what I'm going to
so,
say.
Yeah, you are.
No,
Spencer.
I'm not.
So
Poor Spencer.
semi trucks. No, but it's true. Like the semi trucks, guys, the valuation's high for Tesla from where it's at right now on a PE to discounted cash flow model. There is no doubt. But people bet on the future. Would I be surprised to see Tesla pull back on our earnings thing? Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I would think so. You guys, this cycle of Tesla euphoria to Tesla hysteria the other way has gone on 5 times. I've traded it multiple times in that way by playing options. It went to 340, then it went down to 290, 200, then 190, 185. It's happened all the times. I would not be surprised to see a big Tesla pullback. But like, I'm in it for the long term. I'm in it because I know that the world's gonna follow, and I know there's certain stocks like that. When I bought Google in the IPO, I never sold a share of it because it's the world's gonna follow on stuff that people that can build great products. It's why Benzinga Pro, we're gonna keep building, and people who are using Bloomberg are gonna switch to us. They are. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be the leader, and the world's gonna follow. But it takes time for the world to catch up. We all are used to the same custom thing we do each day. I would love for Joel to take the Tesla for a week next week and give his opinion and see what he thinks. And I bet you he doesn't go back to another combustion engine car again. It's just so inefficient. So
Speaking of Benzinga Pro, we talked to Neil yesterday, and we got a coupon code for you all, and I can
Really?
drop it. Yeah, yep. For anybody that is going to try out Benzinga Pro, I will put it in the YouTube chat, and then I'll drop it into pre-market chat.
And Bull for Trading asked a question. And Benzinga Pro, that's awesome. Joel's giving the discount code. But Benzinga Pro, one of the things we do talk about like stocks. We don't like say buy, but we say, hey, Raz is doing this. The stock that I sold some Tesla for was HubSpot, HUBS. That's the last one that I went big on. It's like a CRM marketing tool, and all these big companies were moving to it. And it was at 60 or 55 bucks. And I even sent an email to the Salesforce CEO and said, you should look at this company. And I know someone that knows him. That's how it got to him. And the stock's now at $182. That stock, when I bought it, it went down. I had times when it went down. I got nervous, but then I'm like, you know what? We're using it. It's solving problems. These companies are using it. Eventually, the world's going to catch up. It's at $182. So I try to find positions that I have, I think, an edge on, that intelligence on. I'm not going to always be right. I'm when the market's down, again, you guys, I was on the show, I don't know, 4 months ago when Tesla was at 190, and Dennis was like, dude, I'm getting out of this Tesla position.
Jason's making stuff up now because I wrote puts down there. I got in.
You covered up though.
He covered. But Dennis, you did sell one of your things, and I'm like, you should get back in. Remember that? You were saying I bought it, you made some money. And then
Jason, you've been right about this the whole time.
I know.
All right.
But
you know what? You converted me, because I was a Tesla bear for a long time.
Yes.
And I became a Tesla bull because of Jason Raznick. And I said, I can't stomach the stock, but I think it's going higher. That's what I've been. And if you've been following the show for the last year and a half, I've been on the Tesla bull train. And that is thanks to Jason Raznick. So thanks for at least allowing me to save face on Tesla. Because I was on the wrong side until you converted me to a Tesla.
Dennis, you're 100% right. Everything you said is 100% right. Because I remember when I was on the show, and you one time, and you're like, I'm going long this thing. And I was like, holy shit. And I remember seeing it at Joel's kid's wedding. And you're like, and I was like, I felt responsible for it. I'm like, I hope it goes up, because I can't ever, but Joel, your coupon code for Benzinga Pro is getting cut off by our link thing. Is there you just click it?
It still will work if I think if you.
It works. You just click it. It works. It goes there.
Yeah. Hey Raz, you did. Lisa nibbled in some Tesla at 417. So.
Oh, so she happy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Did you go out to have you been out to the mall, to the Tesla store there?
No, I haven't been. Joel, if there's something related to Tesla, I've been there, done that. Like when people leave work, they may go eat and see their families. I do Tesla. Yes, I do the mall. I go into the store, they kick me out. I'm there for so long. All right. I take the charging station from when they pull a car out, I put my car there. Like that's what I do. Okay. So what were you gonna say? Yes, they got mad at me one time. I'm like, wait, you said it's for Tesla. I mean, this is a Tesla. Why? There's no badge that says it has to be a company owned car. So, but we're actually hiring someone from there to be doing some writing on Tesla at one of the stores actually very soon. So what were you going to say? Lisa went to the store and that made her want to buy Tesla stock?
Well, yeah, you know how you go out to the Apple store for years at the mall?
Yep.
And it's packed. And just the same theory. So we went to I believe it was in Somerset, and she was like impressed with the car, impressed with the store, and
Joel, the big news. I know we have to hang up in 14 seconds, but the satellite connection goes out. But the big news is Tesla can now sell in Michigan. So
yes, that was 2 days ago.
2 days ago, buddy. They've been working on it for years, and they couldn't get it done, and there was a big lobby against it. And it's exciting times, but again, the stock has moved quick. And, as Warren Buffett says, when people are selling, you should be buying. When people are buying, maybe you should be selling. I'm not selling, but it's also not something I'm like, I can say it's going to be at 680, in 2 weeks. I can't forecast that. I just know the long-term trends, and I don't see any other competitor coming close to it. You guys may talk about Rivian or the other one, they've all been delayed, canceled, problems. There's been no one that's been able to compete. My only ever time that I got nervous on Tesla was when the CTO, what's his name, Bertels, I forget his name, when he left his position. I was like, what? He was the guy that basically started with Elon, and that was the one time that I got nervous, and that was the thing that's what the bears all jumped on, and that was like I was going to get bigger in it, and then he leaving really kind of scared me. But at any company, I've learned, because I've been around a lot of companies. At any company, the starting people at the company usually change, and not everyone, but some. And that's what happened with Tesla. And look at their products. Just look at their products. And if you really want to know, I'll tell you one advantage that I have that I didn't tell any of you guys, and I'll tell it to you right now. If you really want to know why I went so big in Tesla and been such a fan, it's because of a book I read 3 years ago on Winter Vacation by Ashley Vance. You guys should have him on the show. He's a writer of the Elon Musk book, unauthorized biography that he got. Then he got Elon to participate. After I read that book, there's no way in a million years I couldn't have bought Tesla. This guy made a rocket go up to space and land back in the same space. He didn't have money, went to Russia, bought the rockets, and then he had this place, the facility to blow up, and then NASA tried to ban him. He couldn't fail. My point is, he mortgaged everything. He figured out a way to get a rocket up in space and land in the same spot, cut the cost down by 1/100th of what it costs to do a rocket launch. After reading that book, I'm like, all right, Tesla is going to be a freaking home run. That was the most profitable book I've read in my entire life. That is why I got into Tesla originally, just so you guys know.
All right, Jason Raznick, founder and CEO of Benzinga. Thanks for stopping.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks,
All right,
Jason.
sorry about the camera. The cameras.
Hey, Dennis, you do realize the market, it must be a slow
I've been
day
placing
for you.
orders. I have been doing the orders in the background, so not buying Tesla up here though yet.
All right, guys. Love
Thanks,
you guys.
Jason.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for the support. Send us feedback. My email is jason@benzinga.com. If you have any questions, I'm available. Or text me at 248-766-00.
Whoa!
No.
You just got spammed by 10,000
he's
spam
on his
bots.
phone enough.
10,000. You have to get a new phone line tomorrow, Jason.
Love you
Done
guys.
that.
Peace. Bye.
So that was it for our show. I want to thank Jason and our other guest, Evan Schnidman. You can always catch the show on our podcast, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn. Thanks to all of our chatters on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Last thing, please remember all the information from our show meant to be used as informational purposes only, not for investing or trading advice. Last thought here. We are about a month away now from the next Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference in Miami, February 24th and 25th. Go to benzingaevents.com to learn more about that. That's it. It's about to be the open. So we're going to sign off as the market opens for the final day of the week. Everyone have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you on Monday.